everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and today we're playing Mushroom Oasis. It's an indie game with multiple choices, quite like a visual novel, I would say. I didn't read the description about it because I want to dive in blindly, as I love, because sometimes descriptions can spoil stuff and I just want to learn the environment as I go. And if you can learn the environment as you go, that means this is good writing. This game was made by Dare Sphere Studios. So a lot of people enjoy this game, so hopefully we can enjoy it today too. Let's start. What's my name? Ooh. My name would be Gabby. That's what everybody knows me by. What's my cat's name? I don't have a cat. Maybe we'll name it after Gingerbread Guy Chef. Let's call our cat Chef. Just for this guy in the background. And your cat is... Chef is male, from what I know. Chef has been missing for a while now. Oh no. Oh no, wait guys, wait. Chef, go out. Go out, you have to act. You're gone now. So he was an inner cat, but had the tenacity of a wild cat on a mission trying to leave whenever the door was open. Oh my god. Cat use and playtime just wasn't enough for the little mister. I figured he'd come running if I left out some food by the porch. 3 days later, still no cat. Oh no. I've tried everything I could think of. Asking around the neighborhood, putting up missing cat posters. Sadly, nothing came from my efforts. I couldn't search for him during the day since I had work keeping me occupied. And there's only so many hours in the evening I could yell around the street looking for him. There was only one place left I could think of, and that he might have ran off to. Oh no. Are we gonna find Chef? The woods by my house. Oh, not in the woods! Not in the woods! We're gonna die! I've definitely caught him eyeing the birds and squirrels that ran alongside the perimeters from the front window, his teeth clicking in the excitement. I was no outdoorsy person by any means. In fact, the thought of going in there scares me. But I had to find him, or at least try. The first weekend that came around, I packed up some water, Chef's favorite treats, and compass to be safe. I wasn't sure where to even begin looking for him, so I started walking in a straight line, calling out his name every few steps. Chef! Chef! It certainly didn't take long for me to realize I was way in over my head. Why did I think this was a good idea? It was hard to find my bearings within the surrounding trees. I didn't want to admit I was lost, at least not yet. I could only squint down at my compass as the needle spun slowly. Pretty sure they weren't made to do that. Did I really bring a busted compass on my first venture out in these woods? Figured that would just be my luck. The only thing risking my own safety was my own incompetence. I shook my head hesitantly. No time for negativity. Chef was out there somewhere, cold, lost, hungry. I had to keep going. It's getting dark. It's been hours. I'm so lost. I don't even know why I kept searching even after the moment I realized that. Why did I think this was a good idea? Hunger has been gnawing? Okay. Hunger has been gnawing at my stomach for a while now, having missed breakfast and lunch altogether. The heat and humidity from the afternoon sun was unbearable, but the cooling air did nothing to suit me. Even if I were to head home, I couldn't even pinpoint where that was. What do people even do in this situation? I knew it was baseless optimism, but walking onwards was really the only thing I could think of to do. Surely I'll come across something familiar. I trudged on, my shoes carefully avoiding the tree roots intertwined across the forest floor. But in my weakened state, plus the approaching darkness, I found myself stumbling through the rough terrain. My feet hit something soft, jutting out of the ground. Oh. My hands shot out as I lost my balance. My feet clumsily tried to find purchase as I wobbled backwards, arms flapping. Poof! What? My shoe had landed smack dab in the circle of mushrooms. The brunt of it, causing a wispy cloud to erupt from the cluster. I stuck my nose in my elbow to avoid breathing it in. I couldn't differentiate one tree leaf from another for the life of me, but I'm pretty sure humans aren't supposed to inhale whatever the hell this was. This reminds me of Peak inhaling the pink smoke. It smelled strongly of rotten wood and wet dirt, even as it cleared. Something shiny caught my attention. I stooped down to pick it up, gasping under my breath. It was Chef's collar! Covered in whatever the hell those mushrooms released. I looked around desperately for any sign of him. Chef? Chef? Psst, 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 psst. I coughed from inhaling some of the remaining dust floating in the air. I should really steer clear from this. Pocketing Chef's collar, I retreated carefully until I could breathe again. Stepping back, I could still smell it. It must have stuck to my hair and clothes. A quick once-over confirmed my suspicion, with a slight cringe. A thin yet generous coating of it covered my sleeves and jeans. I leaned against a tree, dusting off my clothes in a naive attempt to get the dust and smell out, to no avail. If anything, it felt like I'm breathing more of it in. What used to be musty now turned sweet, and I found myself inhaling even deeper, trying to pinpoint the smell. Cucumbers? It smelled like fresh cucumbers. A tingling feeling crept up my hands and neck, pinpricks spreading across my limbs as a strange heat reached my face. I started to feel drunk and woozy. My senses were numb. It should freak me out. And yet, a strange comfort washed over me. I should lie down. Right now, in fact. My legs gave out from underneath me, my body toppling over at an awkward angle. I wonder why me, I, and my is highlighted in purple? Does that mean me is now mushroomized, as one could say? I lay there and stared, and stared, and stared. It was nice here. A peaceful calm. The perfect place for a nap, even. My eyes grew heavy as I swam in and out of consciousness. Yeah, a nap sounds really good right now. Oh, lots of critters passing through lately. Sorry this happened to you, little one. It could have been anyone, but it had to be you. Wait, a human? How did you end up all the way out here? Still breathing, too. Geez, I can't leave you here. What should I do? I woke up with a jolt. It was warm but comfortably so. I could feel the weight of a blanket on me as I tried to sit up. I couldn't move my body. My fingers twitched uselessly at my sides as my eyes darted around in panic. Glancing about, I could see the interior of a cabin, or at least the ceiling of one. I couldn't see much past the corner of my eyes. Where was I? How did I get here? A desperate feeling rose in my chest. I had to leave. Right now. It was wrong. I wasn't meant to be here. I could hear the crackling of fire nearby, likely the source of warmth I had felt on waking up. I could also hear footsteps approaching. Ooh, we're in a pickle. What should I do? Should I pretend to be asleep for this stranger that did help me and was worried for me? Or should I stay awake? Let's pretend to be asleep. I shut my eyes quickly, hoping they hadn't noticed. I slowed down my breathing, willing my face muscles to stay still. From beside me, someone chuckled softly. I already know you're awake, Firefly. Come on now. I'm not gonna hurt you. I fluttered my eyelids, straining to look at the person approaching. My eyes widened as I took in their appearance, the protrusions from their forehead catching my attention. Not to mention the green skin. The stranger didn't sense my unease as they heaved a sigh of relief. You're awake! That's good. Very, very good. How are you feeling? I blinked. Oh. Sorry, I forgot about that. Here. The person held a cup to my lips, a strong sweet smell coming from the rim. A gentle hand grabbed my chin to open my mouth. I couldn't even move to resist. Don't worry, it'll help you feel better, I promise. Drink up. As the liquid hit my tongue, all I could feel was a vague sense of heat. As I kept drinking, taste and texture returned, the sweetness of berries and chamomile coating my taste buds. I couldn't even detect a hint of mint. I lifted my head, finally, hands fisting at my sides as I propped myself onto my elbows. The person kept a steady hand on my chin, carefully not to pour in too much in case I choked. I finished every last drop, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. I stared at my fingers, realizing I had full autonomy over my body again. Good as new! Now, how are you feeling? Better, thank you. The stranger laughed. Oh, I like the way you sound. Been ages since I've talked to anyone, much less with a voice as nice as yours. I brushed off their strange compliment, finally looking around the cabin properly. It was a simple room, filled with a sparse but decorated wooden furniture, fit for someone living alone. An open archway to the right led to what I assumed was the kitchen. Next to it, a door was closed shut. Possibly the bedroom? The bathroom? Oh my god, I keep misreading. Taking it in, there was a common theme of knitted decorations strewn about it. Any available surface had patchwork knitted tablecloths covering it. An unfinished project laid beside the bedside table where I sat, a pair of knitted needles jutting out of a pile of yarn from a small basket. As far as I could tell, it looked like the beginning of a green scarf. I searched for scarf alone, staying silent, observing me as I glanced around. They tossed their hat onto the bed, scruffing their hair and making it even messier. With their hat off, their unique features were impossible to ignore. Sorry, but what are you? Hmm? Oh, I didn't introduce myself, did I? Hiya, I'm Michael, with a Y. Michael, yeah, right? I shook my head. No, I meant that, Michael stared at me, their left ear twitching. You look very... He snorted. Ugly? Off-putting? No! Just different. Different, huh? You're just being nice. Well then, explain yourself. Michael Myers Jr. I mean, that's kind of rude, isn't it? I paused for a moment before pitching my nose bridge, exhaling slowly. I'm just... sorry, it's been a long day is all. I should be thanking you. If it helps, it's a skin condition? Is that what you humans call them? The way they say it didn't sound confident. And the ears? Genetics? Right. And I assume the little... I wait vaguely at their horns, antennae... Those things are just cosplay to complete the look? Would that make a convincing argument? I squinted. Maybe. Then yeah, it's cosplay. Still doesn't explain everything. Michael huffed a nervous laugh. Listen, I'm just a guy living by myself in the woods. You don't need to worry yourself further than that, okay? Something in his tone compelled you not to question his existence anymore. He's just some guy, living in the woods, completely normal. Right, completely normal. I'm Gabby. Michael beamed. Nice to meet you, Gabby. I fiddled with the blankets as Michael scooted closer from the edge of the bed. I know I already asked, but how are you feeling? Any aches, sores, nausea? Intrusive thoughts? Weird impulses? Fever, maybe? He placed his hand on my forehead before I could react. His hands were closed, quickly retracting as he gave a thoughtful hum. You seem to be lucid. That's a good sign. Great. He hummed absently, his twitching ear reminding me of a perturbed cat. Cat. My cat! Oh shoot! Sorry if this is out of nowhere, but I have seen a cat around these parts. His name... Have you seen a cat around these parts? His name is Chef. His sweet little thing about... this big... skittish, but he can approach strangers if he wants to. I pulled out my phone to show pictures of him, only to find it was missing from my back pocket. Wait, where is... I haven't. Huh? Your cat. I haven't seen it. Oh, I see. There's something against the pillows, rubbing at my temples. He lost his collar too. Even if anyone finds him, they wouldn't be able to tell where he's from. Damn it. Michael stayed quiet, watching me from his side of the bed. You came all the way out there for a cat? Huh? Of course. To the point where you're willing to run yourself right this deep in the forest for a cat? Do you realize how far you have wandered away from the nearest town? I found you near unconscious. In an area nobody set foot in for years. For a cat. He sounded like he was holding himself back from giving me a stern lecture, as if in disbelief I had such a little regard to my own survival. My cheeks grew heated at how stupid and reckless that sounds. I mean, he's not just a cat, he's my family. I know it was stupid for even trying, but I had to. Michael eased off, shoulders tense as he looked me over from underneath his unruly bangs. Family, huh? He finally tipped his head at me with a smile. You're willing to wander this far for such a small critter? I met my fair share of lost campers, hunters, and a few runaway teens or two. But someone looking for their pet? You're kind of weird, aren't you? I sputtered, much to his amusement. Speak for yourself. Who cosplays in the middle of the woods? Michael laughed, a deep hearty one resonating from his chest. Fair. I think I'm starting to like you, Gabby. Likewise? Your smile widened, but something about it was off. I don't know what to think of Michael. His smile widened, but something about it was off. He was showing too much teeth. It felt like he hasn't talked to anyone in a real long time. Forgot how to smile the right amount. I rubbed my neck, trying to think of something else to say. Can I ask, how did I get here? Oh, like I said, I found you in the woods, not far from here. Oh, geez, really? I knew I was tired, but I couldn't have possibly... Did I step in something? Something important? Familiar pink pricks prep up my skin. Home. I need to go home. Michael stiffened as he grabbed my shoulder. Never mind that. You've fallen unconscious from a heat stroke. Heat stroke? No, that wasn't what happened. I was fine up until... Michael shook his head insistently, leaning close. No, Firefly. You weren't fine at all. If I hadn't found you when I did, well, who knows what could have happened. You could have gotten injured or attacked by a wild animal. There's danger in these woods, you know. No, he was right. You had been so foolish. How did you think you could do this on your own? Searching for your cat in the middle of the woods. And to go in without bringing any water? I did bring water. I remember I packed the water. Is he trying to manipulate me? That I had a heat stroke and I had no water? Because I did. I remember. How could you have been so stupid? I shook my head, brain too foggy to pick apart my thoughts. He sounded confident, so why should you doubt him? Is this game about manipulation? Because my character is falling for it. Well, if it means anything, I'm glad you were there. Michael relaxed, hands on his lap once more. He grinned at me. So am I, Gabby. I'm definitely glad I found you. His eyes were hidden fully behind his unruly hair, but I couldn't help feeling how intensely they were fixated onto me as he said that. The hairs on the back of my neck stood. Sure. Without distraction, I've only just realized how uncomfortable I was sitting still. The blanket on me was starting to itch, just as the desperate need to get home began to rise in me again. This was interesting, but should I really get going now? Wait! My host jumped up from the bed before I could. I mean, you can't. I can't just let you wander around in the woods this late. Please stay a bit longer. But Michael, come. He grabbed my hand and led me across the room. We stepped into the kitchen, a fragrant smell of cooked potatoes and meat hanging in the air. Can't he just let you go? No. No, Michael Myers don't let you go. You should remember that from Halloween. Anyway. 2 plates had been set out on a small circular table, complete with utensils and mugs of tea. I wasn't expecting guests today, so the food is nothing fancy. But join me for dinner? He looked so hopeful, ears drooping. You'd feel so bad if you had to say no. No, I'm gonna say no. I wanna go home. Let's go in the woods and die. I ignored the pleading voice in the back of my head, stealing my resolve. Strangely enough, the second I made up my mind, the faint static that fogged my thoughts cleared instantly, only replaced with the urgent need to go home. Michael goes quiet, his grip on my hand tightening before he loosens his hold. Excuse me, you're tightening on me? Let me go, sir? I see. If that's what you want. But... are you really sure? Yes, it's what I'm meant to do. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to stay. I mean, he's hurting me right now with tightening his hand on my arm. You know what? No, I want to go into dark pitch black forest. His ears flatten on my words. He laughs an empty laugh, mouth twisting into a crooked grimace. Surely you wouldn't mind sitting down for a quick meal. Just a bite even. Please. My hands fisted at his sides. Do you really have to go? Oh my god. Oh my god. This is all red flags now. Actually, dinner sounds really good right now. Yes. Michael stared at me as if looking for something. Finally, he sighed in defeat. Alright. I guess I can't keep you here anymore. Let me lead you outside. Michael ushered me towards the back door, swinging it open as he sidestepped to let me out. The chill breeze crept along my arms. I turned towards him one last time. Thanks again for everything. He was silent for a moment, staring past me into the trees. You're welcome. Be careful on your way back. I'm sorry there's not much more I could do for you. You've been nothing but gracious. It's strange for a farewell, but I was too occupied with the thoughts of returning home to care. I looked over the woods, the shadow cast from the moonlight causing some hesitation in me. Do you mind me some directions as a head start? Michael looked at me finally, then to the horizon with a tilt of his chin. Keep heading in that direction. You'll come across the trail that'll lead you straight home. Alright, adios, Michael! I waved at him. He shut the door, the mechanisms locking shut with a click. I stood there for a moment, questioning if I had made the right decision or not. Another urgent thought compelled me to leave. This is not a place for me. I have to go. It was already too late to go back, so I gathered my resolve and walked away. I walked. I walked. Trees blended into one another after a while. I should have been afraid or concerned, but it felt right. The darkness that surrounded me was too comforting for me to feel in danger. I steered away from the direction Michael showed me ages ago. My feet willingly carrying my body to someplace specific, someplace special. A final destination. Here. A patch of mushrooms I had stepped in earlier. I was meant to be here. I have always meant to be here. I lay down in the cold, wet dirt and closed my eyes. What am I doing? Hello? There's not much I could do if the forest had staked its claim on you, Firefly. I wish I'd found you sooner. Sleep well, Gabby. Oh, this is ending one. So, I did die, but I fell asleep and became one with the mushrooms, which reminds me of one of the endings in What's the Game? It's on my channel. What's the game called? This Is Not Your House, I think. You know, my cat's collar was right here, right? What if my cat got claimed by the mushrooms too? So maybe I just went where my cat went. Yeah. Let's start again. And let's stay for dinner this time, yeah? Michael's jaw dropped for a second before he quickly recovered. Yes, of course. Here, come sit. I'll serve up the cottage pie in a minute. I sat as instructed, my stomach rumbling something fierce as the smell was the only thing I could focus on. Yes, this was definitely the right choice. What was so important that you had to leave so soon? Outside world can wait. You could stay here and enjoy the company. Oh, actually, I should ask, are you okay with meat for dinner? I could make something else for you if that's not your preference. Let's go with what I am. I'm okay with meat. Next time we can go vegetarian style. Okay, you'll be having same dinner as me then. Michael pattered about the small kitchen with an almost giddy excitement. He put on a pair of knitted oven mitts, humming as he stooped down and pulled out a steaming tray of pie from the wood stove. The smell! It filled out the kitchen in an instant as he brought it to the table, my stomach rumbling louder in response. I'm pretty sure Michael could hear it, but he just smiled as he served up our portions. He discreetly cut me a bigger piece, which I was grateful for. It looked good! The crust was nice golden color, streaked with a crisp lines and garnish. The meat was veggie-filled, looked absolutely delectable, the savory sauce leaking onto the plate. My mouth was watering and surprising, considering the fact I haven't eaten in a day. Carefully now, it's still hot. It was fair advice, but I didn't wait more than 2 blows before biting into my first forkful. Ah! It was definitely way too hot to eat straight from the oven. Michael kept a polite expression, the corner of his mouth lifting as I panted with the piece still in my mouth. He gave me a few seconds to recover, elbow planted on the table. Is it good? I nodded. Even through my buds were burning. I nodded amicably, though didn't say much else. Curious. I was more focused on scarving down dinner, which thankfully Michael didn't seem to mind. The overall atmosphere was nice and homely, and I could hear Michael tapping his feet from underneath the table. I guess he was that happy to have someone stay for dinner. It did seem like he lived alone, judging from the surrounding in his cabin. So, kinda curious. He perked up instantly, his focus solely on me. What made you want to live all the way out here? Oh, well, when you look like me, it's kinda easier to just live out of sight from everyone else. A pang of guilt shot through my chest. I was giving him a hard time about how he looked too. He must have sensed it clear as day, as on my face. Not that you're one of them. You've actually been nicer than most. Though I wonder if... His mouth turned strained. Never mind. My point is it's better there. It's better here than anywhere else. Why don't you try the tea, Firefly? He seemed uncomfortable now, easing into a different topic. It's probably best to follow along. Oh, sure. I reached out towards my mug, only to push it off edge with my clumsy fingers. Wait! I bent over the side to grab it, fully expecting it to fall just out of the reach and land on the floor into broken pieces. It never did. Instead, a long green appendage was twisting around the ceramic mug, literally keeping it in place. Not even a drop had fallen out. My eyes trailed along the length of it until I pinpointed that it came from behind Michael. The rest of it partially hidden beneath his cardigan. Michael? Is that yours? Michael buried his face in his hands and the strange appendage from before, lowering to his side, mug in tow. I'm sorry, Gabby. I think it's time I was honest. He lifted his head, fingers carding his hair back to reveal his eyes. I froze as two. No. Multiple pairs of irises stared right into me, before darting to the side and avoiding my gaze. I know it's a lot to take in, but this is who I really am. Please don't be scared. I'm gonna remain calm. I swallowed audibly, willing myself to not look away. He seemed to be holding his breath as I gripped the edge of the table. It felt unsettling every time he blinked, those eyes in succession, even when he wasn't looking at me. Was it real? It had to be. Everything about him suddenly makes so much more sense. The isolation, the avoidant behavior. He looked freaky, yes, but he also looked sad. I swallowed thickly. I need to swallow thickly too. I'm not scared. Michael's many pupils blew wide, dilating like an excited wild cat. It sent a shiver up my spine. Okay, maybe just a little bit scared. Sorry. I hastily grabbed an empty plate and hid behind it, shoulders scrunched up despite his stature. Would it help if I just hide it? I could fix my hair like before if that's what you prefer. His voice was muffled behind the ceramic barrier between us. It was kind of endearing. I slowly reached out to touch his hand, the slight brush off my fingertips making him jump in place. Michael? Yeah? Can you put that down? He slowly lowered the plate. His eyes were still darted to the side, avoiding me. Can you look at me? Don't look at me like that. Sorry, I just can't stop looking. This was so awkward. His hands were shaking. I looked down at the mug still floating next to him, hanging on for dear life. I reached over and plucked it straight out of his grasp. I tenderly took a sip, noticing how Michael was watching me over the rim of the mug. The taste was mildly spicy, with an almost earthy bite to it. I recognized it instantly as ginger tea. It's almost room temperature, but it still looked pretty good. Huh? You wanted me to try the tea, right? I like it, so thank you. Oh, I'm glad. Michael relaxed back into his seat, following my lead as I picked up a fork once more. The silence didn't last long as Michael fidgeted. Are you really okay with this? With me? I gave him a once-over, really taking in his features. It's very different than what I'm used to, but I think I can learn to like it. Is that a weird thing to say? I mean, you're not bad to look at. It's actually kind of... Damn it, what do I say? Hot! Cool. Pretty. What do I honestly think? Well, I don't find it hot. Pretty and cool together, but I think it's kind of cool. It's like something out of science fiction. Is that a good thing? Yeah. Oh, my point is, your parents shouldn't matter. You've been nothing but kind to me so far. I'd be the worst kind of person to judge someone based on how they look. I haven't known you that long, but you seem like a good person. You're fine, Michael. I smiled at him. We're fine. I see. He fidgeted some more before nodding, smiling a bit. Thanks, Gabby. I'll cherish this moment forever. He beamed at me as he enthusiastically went back to eating his food. That was something. We continued with a bit of small talk, mostly stories about Chef, or snippets from my personal life. Michael hung on to every word I said, not bothering to elaborate much about himself despite my burning curiosity. I could tell he was extremely insecure about his appearance, so it's probably best I keep my questions to myself for tonight. Clear up the kitchen in a relative silence, Michael storing away the rest of the pie as I washed the dishes by the sink. Being out here in this remote cabin, I wonder how he had running water. Maybe I'll ask him later. So, thanks for the dinner. Thanks for the company. Oh, and please take the bed tonight. But, you're my guest and I'm the host. Take the bed, okay? Alright, I'll be out of your hair first thing in the morning. Michael got quiet, staring at the floorboards. With his hair out of the way, I could finally read his expressions. Did he seem upset? Is that okay? I don't need your help though. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna get lost again on my own. He still flickered behind him. Yeah, I'll bring you home tomorrow morning. I heaved a sigh of relieved. Thanks, Michael. I'll see you in the morning. Yeah. Good night, Gabby. Good night, Michael. He seemed really happy being able to say that. I plopped myself down onto Michael's bed, getting comfy beneath the blanket. I thought Michael was gathering some blankets of his own to make a makeshift bed on the floor in front of the fire. He had an impressive collection of knitted items, a comfortable nest forming in the center of the room. I eyes trailed after his tail, now out in the open as it flicked and swayed. Kinda like a cat. I miss Chef. Now with a full stomach dozing off came easy. I didn't even realize how tired I was. I listened to the gentle crackling of the fire, my vision darkening. Hello. Good night, Gabby. Can you like go away? I'm sleeping. Oh my god, I haven't read this much since I played Slay the Princess. That was such a good game. I definitely recommend you check it out too. A soft humming invaded my dreams, staring me awake. I blinked my eyes open to unfamiliar surroundings. Bottle in a blanket that clearly wasn't mine. Where? Oh, I spotted the familiar figure of my host seated on the stool in the front of the fire, hands deftly working on the green scarf bundle on his lap. His back was towards me, but I caught glimpses of his fingers as the needles softly clicked between the yarn. He looked incredibly adept at using them, their rhythmic movements almost hypnotic as the fibers wound together into an intricate pattern. I slowly stirred into a sitting position, rubbing at my eyes. A movement quickly caught his attention, our ears flicking in my direction before his eyes strained onto me. Just like last night, his pupils blew up as we made eye contact. His expression lit up the instant he saw me. Gabby, hey, I'm glad you're finally awake. You looked so tired. I didn't want to disturb you until you've gotten enough rest. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Abby. Did you sleep well? I was still too groggy to answer his question. A yawn slipping out as I stretched. He smiled kindly, a soft chuckle under his breath. Like a baby then? He pointed over his shoulder to the door beside the fireplace, tilting his head towards it. You can freshen up in the bathroom if you'd like, while I start on making up some food. I'd have eaten breakfast by now, but I don't want you to join me while the food is still hot. How do eggs and toast sound? Where are you getting all these groceries, man? You're in the middle of the woods. I can eat that, yeah. Great. I'll see you in the kitchen then. He tucked away his knitted materials and set it aside. Oh, I also have a surprise for you after breakfast. It's not the most exciting surprise, but just join me when you're ready. He ducked into the kitchen without another glance. I suppose that's my cue. I rolled out of bed, leaving the warmth of Michael's blankets and trotting over to the door Michael pointed out. Stepping inside, I didn't know what I was expecting when he said he had a bathroom, but it was surprisingly spacious. Everything looked like it was carved and polished out of wood. You seemed to have everything you'd find in a modern bathroom. A sink with a cabinet, a shower and a tub, and even a toilet. Curious, I crept over to the toilet, in particular inspecting it. There wasn't a tank like you'd expect where the water would be stored. Instead, there was a compartment to the side of full of sawdust and scoop. I expected it to have at least a bit of a smell, but it was surprisingly odorless. There was even a roll of toilet paper on the side. It was no flushing system, but it was hygienic. Michael must have done his research. Walking over to the sink, I stared at the faucet before hesitantly twisting it. I jumped when I heard the rush of water pouring and swirling in the basin before disappearing to who knows where. Why am I impressed by a damn functioning bathroom sink? I helped with the dishes last night. I already knew Michael had plumbing. Shaking my head, I finished freshening up and headed to the kitchen. Michael looked up as I entered, a steaming kettle in his hand with 2 empty mugs on the counter. It might have been the lightning, but he was taller than I remember. Glancing to the table, I could see he already finished plating up our food. Oh wow! You work fast! Michael looked proud of himself. Can't have my guests stay on an empty stomach. Go on, have a seat. I'll join you in a moment. I returned his smiles and sat down, stomach grumbling as I looked at our plates. Once again, Michael was generous with the serving size. Fat slices of bread were toasted perfectly with crisp buttered sides, bright red tomato slices, and crisp salad peeking underneath the fluffy eggs. It looked amazing, tantalizing. The smell of savory herbs wafting into my nose. My mouth watered. Michael set down a steaming mug beside me before settling into his own seat. Peeking above the rim, I could see small flowers floating about, tinting the water yellow. It's faintly smelled of apples. He is taller! Cause last time we were in this frame, he was like under, like we could see his horns and stuff. So is he growing bigger? Or is he just becoming more comfortable with us? I recognize the yellow dried pellets on the tea packaging. I've seen before. Oh, chamomile? He nodded. I hope you like it. I'm sure you will. His smile widened, his tail swaying at the tip of his feet. He seemed more relaxed, showing his natural features this morning. Any trace of panic and hesitation from last night were gone, replaced by a look of contentment. Michael bit into his toast and I followed suit. The food was as delicious as I expected. The chunk of toast I bit into was heavenly, the butter sweet on my tongue. The chunk of toast I bit into was oh, I read that before. And the eggs. Something about simple home cooking food is just the best. Michael was happy to eat in silence, occasionally looking up at me as I enjoyed my food. He'd smile when our eyes met, his bottom pair narrowing into a happy squint. I wondered if he'd be open to some questions. Hey! Do you mind if I ask? How did you learn to cook? How do you have plumbing? What's like yeah, let's ask plumbing. That's the most I'm curious about. The other two are like meh questions. I know it's a silly question, but I can't stop thinking about it. Oh? You were wondering about that? The embarrassed look on my face was probably enough of an answer. Aww. Well, it's something fascinating. It's just rainwater I've got stored above the cabin. Just rainwater? He nodded. I detected a hint of pride as he continued. It's actually a recent installment, believe it or not. Granted, the project took a while, gathering materials, figuring out the tools, finding the right instruction manuals. Plus, I had to figure out where to store the water tank. And don't worry, I installed a filtration system, so it's safe for us to use. I check in every few weeks to make sure it's not contaminated. That sounded daunting, especially considering you lived all the way out here in the woods. You did all that on your own? I kinda had to. Anyway, it took a whole lot of calibrating and adjusting, but it really worked out. And now that I think about it, I'm glad you get to be comfortable here during your stay too. Does that answer your question? Where did you learn to do all that? I had to figure out a lot of things on my own. There was a faint hint of exhaustion in his eyes. But to answer your question, I go to libraries a lot. It's where I learn about majority of things. The fact that he even ventured to buildings at all already surprised me. And if I'm real lucky, they have all these neat DIYs and workshop manuals are high for anyone to browse through. Took a while to figure out everything out. A really long time actually. But hey, I had nothing but time. It paid off. I'm considering upgrading the toilet next, but for now, the composting setup works fine. Learn about that in an old camping guide. He paused to take a breath as if he hadn't talked this much in a while. I'm rambling, but that's how I did it. Is there anything else you want to ask? Wait, you've been to libraries? His ears perked up, posture straightening. Oh yeah! I can't tell you enough how much books have helped me. I made it this far only because I quickly figured out how to read. Well, I figured out that I can read. Do you visit often? In my early days, any chance I could get. Nowadays I stick to my side of the forest though. Gotta make sure people don't wander too far than they are meant to. I paused in my shoe and the teasing lilt in his voice. Hey! I'm joking. Anyways, if you're wondering what I do about this, he gestured towards his face. I just have to make sure everything's covered. You'd be surprised how little people pay attention to me when I bundle up just right. Do people not give you trouble? He shrugged nonchalantly. Small town libraries are usually so empty from my experience, and people just mind their own business there. I guess that's true. I can't remember the last time I visited a library. I guess libraries could be Michael's equivalent to the World Wide Web. I should introduce him to the internet sometime. Maybe we shouldn't. How about we shouldn't? He seems good enough where he's at. He doesn't need no toxic ass internet. Actually, maybe not. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Not without parental controls. Oh my god. Is he young? Is he a child? He needs parental controls. Yeah, I think he said long time, so he must be like 100 years old. Finally satisfied, I nodded and went back to eating my food. So what's like living in the woods? I still can't believe how cozy you managed to make it considering the whole middle of nowhere thing. It wasn't like this when I found it. No? It was major, fix her up her? So the cabin was abandoned. I never would have guessed. Yeah, I'm really happy I get to live somewhere permanent for once. It's not much, but it's home. What's it like? Peaceful? Quiet? I do like it a lot. The forest provides me with everything I need. And nobody bothers me for the way I look out here. His ears twitched slightly. Sometimes you just happen to end up where it's most convenient for you and everyone else. The way he avoided my eyes as he said that gave me the impression there's something more to it. Like his home wasn't just out of convenience, but fear of something else. Rejection, perhaps? Or something worse. Anyways, I don't really have anything else to say about it, unless there's something specific you want to ask. He doesn't think about his answer much before beaming at me. What about you? I know you've told me a little bit about yourself, but what's it like being you? I scoffed, waving a hand. Please, I'm the least interesting person in this room, trust me. His eyes were shining and earnest as he leaned forward. Tell me anyway. Oh, well, I told him about my life, at least the parts I was comfortable with sharing. So I like to run this YouTube channel, and I stream like 3 times a week. And I have a couple hobbies. Just like last night, his eyes didn't leave my face, occasionally darting about my features and interests. The direct ogling was making me nervous, but I suppose I was doing the exact same thing when it was his turn to talk. Eventually, I came to the topic of my job and the woes of living in modern capitalism. I'm a bit jealous. You have the whole cottagecore aesthetic practically perfect. His face morphed into a confused pout. Cottagecore? I say it to him in my own words. Oh, you're saying you want to live the way I do, out in the woods? I nodded without hesitation. I mean, I wouldn't mind showing you the ropes. His tone seemed strangely lilted. What do you mean? Never mind. Anyways, I don't get what the appeal is, but it's not easy either, you know. The forest provides, but it's up to me to make use of it. Starting out was... A dark look crossed over his face, as if reliving a bitter memory. Rough. But I'm built for survival. I feel like asking him to elaborate would make things awkward. I decided to wear the topic to a different direction. Doesn't it get lonely? Sometimes, but I'm used to it. He smiled, his eyes lighting up. Besides, I have you at the moment, don't I? I never thought I'd enjoy having someone around. You must be really special. How did you learn to cook? Cottage pie is a pretty complicated recipe. I just wonder if anyone taught you how to cook. I'd be lucky if someone could teach me how to make boiled eggs for Firefly, but it was trial and error mostly. My earlier endeavors were pretty much inedible. I picked up a thing or two about cooking though, so your taste buds aren't gonna fall victim to any nasty creations like in my early days at least. Speaking of, did you enjoy dinner last night? Of course I did. You're a really good cook, Michael. I'm glad. It probably wasn't obvious, but I'm really happy I got to cook for you. I don't get guests often in case you couldn't tell. I should ask you to cook for me every day then. He grinned at my joke, looking pleased. I'd be happy to. I chuckled as I took another bite. So what's your favorite thing to cook? He lit up at that question. Fried mushrooms! Fried mushrooms? Yeah. There's plenty to find and it's easy to make. I do remember finding a patch of mushrooms yesterday. We're getting to the mushroom lore! Felt pretty funky though. You remember that? What was that? Nothing. Anyways, mushrooms were the only thing I had for a while before figuring out I could eat other stuff like roots and vegetables. Do you forage all your ingredients? Mostly. The times I figured out how to catch fish and hunt game were the best of my life, I'll tell you that. The first taste of meat, they did an awkward version of chef kiss, as if mimicking something of saw television once. Mamma mia! Was he trying to say Mamma Mia? He continued before I could even dwell on it for a second longer. But nothing beats what you humans are able to make. You guys go nuts with ingredients. Rice was a challenge. It's a precious ingredient since I have to actually get some from a store. But once I figure out how to make it nice and fluffy, I consider it special treatment. I did a double take. You go to the store? Yeah? Where else would I get it? I thought you would grow it yourself or something. He laughed as I flushed in embarrassment. It's flattering you think I'm even capable of something that impressive, but no. There's only so much the forest can provide. But what about money? We're talking about human currency, right? Otherwise, how would you even... You actually have a job? A thought occurred to me. Or did you steal it? He almost looked offended. Do you take me for a criminal? No, but that would mean then how? Michael bit into his toast, his 2 eyes winking in mischief. I have my ways, Firefly. What's that supposed to mean? Trying to know a lot more about Michael. He didn't directly say it, but it felt like he was lonelier than he was letting on. Not to mention how he managed to make a home for himself. Okay, he sells organs. So people get lost in the woods, right? And he just cuts them open and sells their organs, and that's how he makes a living. Okay, that's my theory. I had to wonder if he had anyone at all. Do you have any family around? Family? His expression turned solid for a moment before he looked sheepish. Remind me how that works again? I get the concept based on some books I've read. I don't have what you call parents, if that's what you're asking. My mouth dropped, open in shock. No parents? He shrugged and took another bite of toast. Not that I recall. Then how do you... What's that like, living with so many people like you in such a close proximity? That's how it works, right? You and other humans living in one house, and you have this DNA thing that makes you relate to the rest. That's what makes a family, right? Was he talking about DNA? His definition threw me off, but I had to answer somehow. Not just that. Family is people you relate to, like your mom, dad, and your siblings. People that you love and care about, who love and care about you too. Actually, I guess they are just people you live in. Yeah, it's the second one. Because sometimes blood family can be not family if they don't love you or care about you. He seemed intrigued. Is that so? That does sound nice. Is there anyone that you love and care about? My cat! Where is my goddamn cat? Your friends can be considered family too? Yeah, I don't see why we have to be related to be family. I even consider my cat family. Oh, this is the same for all families? I bit my lip, pondering the question. It would be naive to think that. A lot of families do love and take care of one another, but not everything's perfect. Sometimes that love can be misplaced or taken advantage of or even abused. Michael looked thoughtful. So it starts with love? I've read some stories about that. Love, I mean. Though certain feelings just don't make sense to me. At least from the reader's perspective. I guess you'll have to experience it for yourself to understand. He stared at me blinking for a moment. Yeah, you might be right. I never considered that. Then again, who would bother loving a monster like me, huh? What? You're not a monster. I look like one, don't I? That's besides the point. You're not denying it, though. It's okay. You don't have to lie to me. So, family? Right. To be fair, everyone's definition of family could be different. What about you? What's your definition of family? Michael looked surprised. I asked him that question. I don't know. I've never had one. And I think your answer just confused me more. Well, if you ever figure it out, let me know. Michael stared at the remaining crumbs on his plate before he nodded, avoiding my gaze. Sure. We both felt quiet, the lull in the conversation blanketing us in a comfortable silence. All this family talk reminded me of the reason why I'm out here in the first place. To look for my beloved cat, a sight I might never be able to see again. Yeah, our cat! We need to find our cat! I couldn't help the stinging feeling in my chest, that growing pit in my stomach. I wish I was able to find Chef. You would have loved them. Michael opened his mouth to say something but changed his mind. My voice warbled as a lump. Sorry, I just miss him so much. I keep thinking if I just went looking for him sooner, maybe I would have been able to find him by now. He was quick to speak up. You did your best, Firefly. No one else could have gone to the lengths that you did. You almost risked getting yourself... Getting myself what? I'm sure wherever he is, he's doing okay. You really think so? I know so. His voice was laced with a confident assurance despite the worried look on his face. I nodded with a quiet sniff. I hope so. It's just important to me is all. Michael looked like he wanted to reach across the table for me, but sighted instead. Actually, I'm sorry, Gabby. I should tell you. Maybe I do have family now that I think about it. That was the surprise I mentioned before. Wait, really? He nodded. Are you done? I could take to meet him right now. I looked down on my plate. During the conversation, I didn't even realize I finished my meal. Yeah, I'm done. His movements were quick, staking our empty plates and mugs and setting them in the sink. He grasped my hand before I could say another word, pulling me up and heading outside with me in tow. Oh my god, we're meeting people? As the door swung open, I could only see forest ahead. Before he tugged me along as he rounded the side of the cabin. Almost immediately, my peripherals were assaulted with greens on both sides. I figured he was the type to grow his own vegetables, but to see it in person as confirmation was a whole different thing. With Michael leading the way, I only had a moment to take in the surrounding garden. He had marked the different plots with messy drawings on the small wooden signs jutting out of the dirt. Carrots, lettuce, potatoes, trellises of tomatoes and beans. I wouldn't have been able to differentiate one plant to another without the signs. Even the chamomile from our tea just now grew abundant close by, small buds swaying gently. I bumped into Michael as he suddenly stopped. The man looked over his shoulder to beam at me. We reached what looked like a fenced-off area with a bit of netting stretched all around. He stepped aside, watching me as my eyes widened. Yeah, this is farm animals. I knew it. Look at them! Oh, so cute. They're so well drawn. The fat, happy little hens strutted about like they owned the place. As he entered through the gate, the hens swarmed over in an instant at Michael's feet, circling him and pecking at his boots. Ladies, meet Gabby. Gabby, these are Mawar, Sansuyu, and Primrose. Or as I like to call them, Marmar, Sunny, and Rosie. He ducked to pick one up, fluffing up her feathers as he smiled. He gently scratched the hen's little head, which I assumed was Rosie. She practically melted at his pampering eyes sliding shut. The other two flapped their wings in a huff and went about their business once more. Michael leaned closer, beckoning me to pet Rosie. She was so soft. Rosie's the oldest. She doesn't lay eggs anymore, but I couldn't bring myself to, you know. So I brought her some friends. Marmar came first. Sunny is a more recent addition. What do you think? Did we make a good family? I laughed and nodded, watching Rosie nuzzle into Michael's chest. I didn't expect chickens of all things. Were you expecting something else? I was expected to be someone else. Oh, no. When you look like me, people generally don't stick around. There's that negative self-talk again. You don't even look that bad. His eyes flicked to mine, a look of pleasant surprise crossing his face. You really think so? Yeah. You can't be that naive, but Firefly. I mean it. He let out a polite scuff as he scratched Rosie's head absently. You genuinely believe people wouldn't run away at the sight of me? Well, I didn't. His smile turned smug, the corner of his lips lifting just a bit. Of course you didn't, because you couldn't. Shoot. He wasn't wrong. I was pretty much paralyzed in his bed when we first met. But I still don't think you look that bad. Another thing. Since he knows all about the mushrooms and he has the mushroom horns, right? And he knows what the mushrooms do. And for the first ending we got, the way he found us, because we left his cabin, we ended up going to the mushrooms again and dying on the mushrooms. And he came over before we died and said that, I don't remember specifically, but he knows that those mushrooms kill people. And he likes fried mushrooms. I don't know. Let's move on. Is that so? Describe me then. What? You heard me. Look at me and describe what you see. For a second I thought he was being condescending, but looking at his eyes, all I could see was a bit of playfulness. He looked at me expectantly, eyes shining. You're tall? Go on. You have blonde hair? You gave an amusing squint, his left ear twitching? What else? You have green skin? And a tail? He chuckled, though there was no malice in it. But that's not all, is it? He definitely expected me to say it straight. Oh, fine. So you don't look human. So what? He hummed absently. As I was saying, animals generally don't care if you look like a monster. My heart twisted at his words. His passive nonchalance somehow makes it even worse. Michael, you're not a tug at my shoelace caught my attention. A light brown hen stood at my feet, her beating eyes shining. Oh, she looks so cute. Sunny flapped her wings almost expectantly. Oh, I think she likes you. Go ahead, pick her up gently, like how I did with Rosie. I hesitated, but slowly lowered myself to cup Sunny by her wings. Lifting her up, she was quick to nestle herself until she was comfortably tucked under my arms. I could feel her wings wiggling as she nuzzled into my side. So cute! Michael gaze softened as I cooked at the chicken, mimicking her small clucks. So, did it help? Cheering you up, I mean. Oh, so that's what this was. A fuzzy feeling blooming in my chest as he looked at me, chickens in his arms and concerns on his face. A little bit, yeah. Only a little? I snickered, rolling my eyes. Okay, mister, a lot. That's more like it. His proud grin was infectious. I couldn't help smiling back. We spent a bit more time with the hens, petting them until they were satisfied. Michaels even showed me the spot where they like to have their dust baths, little chicken-shaped holes scattered about in the dry soil underneath the coop. Once the gals had enough of us, we refilled their water container before leaving. He left them some treats, procuring them straight out of his pockets before shutting the gate. The girls' excited chatter over the food faded as we made our way back into the cabin. I sat by his bed as he crouched down by the fireplace. From the window I could see the sun outside was getting higher. It might be close to afternoon now. Hey, Michael? He looked up at me from where he was stoking the fire. I rubbed my arms, unsure where to place my gaze. I think it's a good time for me to go now. I didn't. My stretcher fell, but I caught myself quickly. He's done his best to cheer me up. It'll be inconsiderate towards him to leave in a bad mood. I might have to accept that I'll never see Chef again. I think it's better if I focus on moving on. He was quiet for a moment, hands in his pockets. If you say so. But you don't have to leave just yet. We have still got plenty of daylight left, and there's some place I want to show you. Won't you come with me? I had to decide. Oh, he's breaking my decisions. I couldn't decide. I promise I'll take you home right after. He took another step towards me. Please, Firefly? I didn't want to say it, but he looked desperate. Okay. I'll go with you. The joy on his face was shining bright as a billboard. Great. Let me get our stuff. He disappeared into the kitchen, returning with my backpack in one hand and sachet in the other. He passed it to me as he walked by towards the front door. I almost forgot I had this. Riffling through my bag, I found Cat's treats, Chef's collar, a broken compass, and my phone. Battery was dead though. Still, that's one less thing to worry about. I checked through my bag once more, finding an empty water bottle. I frowned, distinctly remember I forgot to pack water for my tip. No, you didn't. I remember you packed it. Or at least Michael told me I did. Didn't I? You ready? I looked up at Michael, startling when I spotted the large crossbow in his hands. He followed my gaze and shrugged, albeit with nervous smile, like he'd been caught doing something he shouldn't have. He quickly strapped the weapon to his back and out of sight. Don't worry, I'm not gonna use it unless necessary. I would hope not. He chuckled at my indignant tone. You think I'm gonna let you out in the woods without guaranteeing your safety? I made promise to get you home, so this is just an extra precaution. You don't think it's a bit much? Better sit than sorry, Firefly. He did have a point. If anyone knew these woods and the kind of danger it held, it'd be Michael. I glanced over at him again, noticing he'd changed his oversized gardening for something more outdoor appropriate. His eyes tracked mine, his shoulders stiff as a tin spread across his face. So, shall we? He opened the door and waved me out. I stepped aside to glance around his front yard. I don't know why I read it as Yara. The landscape wasn't anything special. It was actually left quite plain, just thick with trees and foliage. Only paths of dirt and flattened grass clued me in the routes Michael would use as he comes and goes, bobbing in all directions straight to the front door. Come to think of it, anyone passing through would be able to spot Michael's house if they squinted through the trees carefully enough. I guess he was right that nobody walked through this area in years. I heard a lock turn before Michael joined me by my side. He smiled wide before tipping his head in the direction, making sure I was behind him before he started walking. I was hesitant, but followed suit. Hopefully going to see the cat. I don't know if we're gonna ever see the cat anymore. It was quiet as we traveled, save for the sounds of nature calling out around us. The weather was bright and warm, the sun casting pretty rays through the gaps in the trees. I had to admit, enjoyable as it was, the bird calls and rustling of leaves as we walked somewhat brought bad memories. Yesterday was miserable. I was lost, tired, and hungry. There was a chance I wasn't gonna make it out alive. I watched Michael's back as he led the way. The man barely paying any minds to his surroundings. His ear would occasionally flick back in my direction, but overall he seemed confident where to go. Having Michael as my guide home was definitely a great assurance. Made me even more grateful he had found me when he did. I sighed and shook off the negative feelings, keeping pace while appreciating the fresh. I stepped up next to my companion, willing my voice to speak after plenty of silence. This is actually kind of nice. Good old nature walk. I coughed into my fist, feeling embarrassed. I don't go outside as often as I should. Michael smiled kindly. I'm glad I get to bring you then. Yeah, feels different when you know where you're going. Actually, where are we going? He sensed my nervousness and laughed. Don't worry. I looked up and saw it before he even pointed it out. Clearing the distance, the trees growing strangely sparse in the area. I held my breath as I noticed the grass slowly started to dot with flowers, delicate blooms swaying here and there in the breeze. As we get closer, Michael watched me as my mouth dropped open, a knowing twinkle in his eyes. It was breathtaking. I secluded a little meadow of flowers, lit up by beams of light, making the scenery resemble a page from a forgotten fairy tale. Butterflies flit about in pairs, their wings flickering and complementing the surreal yet enchanting ambience of the whole place. Michael let me gawk some more before walking ahead, turning to face me before sitting down to relax on the grass. He slipped off his sachet and laid it on the grass by his side along with his crossbow. I blinked out of my stupor and approached him, spinning around to drink everything in before plopping myself down next to him. So, what do you think? Pretty, isn't it? I nodded dumbly before finally listening to him. The man's gaze on me softly as our eyes met. A butterfly approached us rapidly, making me flinch on instinct. It landed on his finger as he held it out, its wings flapping gently. He smiled at the dainty creature, a fond look in his eyes before he held it towards me. You like butterflies, Gabby? Yeah, I like them. Yeah, I do. I think they're so pretty. This is amazing, Michael. His usual prideful smirk was absent, replaced instead with a shy smile. I'm glad you like it. The sun was at its peak now, the air getting warmer as minutes passed. The leafy canopy over us provided enough cover for us to not overheat. Michael picked a flower with his other hand and placed it in my palm, his tail looping loosely around us both as my cheeks darkened. He closed his eyes and leaned back further, the butterfly still resting on his hand. My ears caught a soft rumbling before I realized it was coming from his direction. I almost wanted to ask, but I don't want to ruin the moment. My gaze dropped as I twirled the flower in my hand, holding the stem delicately. The gesture felt platonic, but also romantic. I wonder if Michael was even interested in relationships. He'd been alone most of his life. He'd probably get tired of my presence sooner or later. Before I could contemplate further, the butterfly on Michael's finger took off, my gaze trailing after it as it left the sunlight and flew away into the woods. I'm keeping it platonic! Which reminds me, Michael? Don't get me wrong. This place is stunning. But is it okay if we go now? He straightened from his relaxed slouch. Why? We just got here. I chewed on my lip, hesitating. I love it here, I do. I want to go home, Michael. Michael studied my face. Gabby, do you want to leave me that badly? What? No! I need time to recover from losing Chef. I know it's silly and dramatic, but knowing he won't be there when I get home. I trailed off, another shot of guilt and regret filling my chest. I just need to get it done with. I feel a hand rubbing my back. Michael nodded slowly, looking me in the eyes. His smile was gentle. That's okay. I understand. But maybe this place can help with that. It's a nice spot to nap, isn't it? I picked it out just for you. Why don't you go ahead and lay down? His words made you sway, a sudden bout of sleepiness weighing heavily over your lids. He was right. It is a nice place to nap in. Why were you in such a hurry? You yawned, laying back to stretch on the grass, the warmth from the ground seeping through your clothes, lulling you into a sense of comfort and safety. There you go. Just spend some time with me. Just a bit more. Please? Uh-oh, here's something else I could show you. He reached into his sachet and pulled out a wooden box. It's called a kalimba. I blinked slowly, clarity coming back as I shook my head to pay attention. The box fit neatly in his hands, Michael holding it as if he were typing on a phone. I could see it had a hole in the middle with thin strips of metal arranged in a triangle shape over it. What does it do? A proud smirk spread across his face. I'll show you. He began to pluck at the metallic prongs, a gentle ringing sound resonating with every flick of his tongue. I could recognize the song. He might have made it up himself. I closed my eyes, enjoying the tune. Michael gave a soft chuckle as he kept playing. Is he making me fall asleep? He's not letting me decide. He's just like, oh, you're going to sleep now. Relax and listen as long as you like, Firefly. A few minutes passed by with Michael plucking away at the instrument. The two of us sunbathing like two cats on a Sunday afternoon. I must have dozed as the next thing I knew I felt a nudge on my shoulder. Comfy? He chuckled loud when I refused to open my eyes. I mean, if you'd rather stay. My eyes shot open, my whole body jerking to sit up. Michael glanced at me, kalimba in his lap and half a forgotten me not chain in his hands. What? I shook my head, slapping at my cheeks. I can't believe I fell asleep. I still need to. It's alright. He cut me off. His sigh was heavy. I was hoping. Never mind. He patted my shoulder. Through his smile didn't reach his eyes. Thanks for being here with me. Maybe we can do this again sometime. If I ever see you again. Let's get you home. He rolled over to his feet and stood up, brushing off dirt and fixing his sachet. Come on. We gathered our things and set off into the unknown once more. Alright, so we are heading home. Maybe. Well, unknown to me at least. Michael seemed to have a map of this place engraved in his brain. You seem a bit sleepy still, so let's freshen up, okay? We walked a bit further away from the clearing, coming across the river. Compared to the rest of the path we walked, the area was shaded considerably with a thick canopy of leaves all over us. The flowing water looked inviting. As I kneeled down by the bank, Michael idled close by. I dipped my hands in, eager to wash my face. The water was refreshing and cooled my heated skin in the afternoon sun. I pulled my hands back to see Michael peeking over my shoulder into my reflection, smiling with a faraway look on his smile. He startled as our gazes met, irises darting away to look at himself instead. Immediately his expression changed. His ears flattened, a grimace twisting his features as his lips curled back. I've never seen such a contempt in his eyes as I did then, staring at his own visage. He stepped away, retreating underneath the cover of a tree to lean against it with crossed arms. He doesn't notice me watching. I patted my hands dry on my shirt and approached him. You ready? Yeah. I stopped him before he could turn to leave. He looked at me with a questioning look, tipping his head. I hesitated. I wasn't the type to speak my mind directly. Most of the time I'd keep things to myself, let things go by, but nobody should look at themselves and have that sort of reaction. Hey, you know you're not, I might as well be frank. You're not a monster, Michael. He looked taken aback. What makes you say that? I saw you were looking at yourself. How you talk about yourself. None of this is true. I keep telling you, you're more than your appearance. I don't know what compelled me to do it, but I did it anyway. I reached for his hand and I held them between us. His eyes widened at the contact. All this took was a day with you, and truthfully I think you're the most amazing person I've ever met. He made a choke noise. I'm just some old nobody compared to you. That's not... Shut up and listen. He probably shut his mouth with audible click of his teeth. From where I stand, you saved my life. You have taken care of me better than I could ever ask for from a stranger. That already proves to me you're not the monster you think you are. You're charming, you're smart, you're sweet. You're a million more wonderful things that you are not a monster. I take a second to compose myself, lowering my voice. You may look different, Michael, but guess what? His multiple eyes stared into mine, ears flattening as if fearing the worst. That makes you all the more beautiful to me. His breath hitched. I could feel his hand squeezing mine, fingers trembling. It was like he forgot how to breathe. I realized my hands were getting sweaty. I pulled away hastily, scratching at my neck and avoiding his gaze. I could feel the blood rush to my face. I could dunk my whole head in the river and it's probably let off a steam. Sorry, that came out of nowhere. It just didn't feel right if I didn't say anything. I hope you understand. An awkward silence passed between the two of us. Anyways, I caught him mumbling under his breath. I can't let you leave. What? I said you can't leave. I mean, not without your cat, right? I frowned. I've already tried, Michael. Like you said, it was stupid for me to just wander off in the woods as if I'd find him through a dumb luck. He paused, his fists clenching. But I haven't. Huh? I haven't tried. I know these woods better than anyone. I can try looking for him. But that means you can't leave yet. Michael, I appreciate the offer, but I don't think I should stick around any longer. I have a job and responsibilities and... You hissed in pain, a sudden migraine overcoming your senses. You felt sick, your stomach wriggling itself into knots. It felt like the world was warping around you as your legs wobbled. Your body buckled over as you resisted the urge to vomit. Michael caught you as you slumbered gracefully to the ground, your head resting on his shoulders as he cradled you close. Hey, you don't look so good. Your vision doubled as he spoke, his speech oozing towards words into an indecipherable mess. Are you okay? You need me to carry you home? Yes, please. Okay, no problem. Just hang in there. Hang to me. Oh boy. Did the mushrooms do that or did he do that? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this. If I could just one more day with you, you'll be the happiest man alive. Here we are. Let's get you tucked in. I should give you some clothes, especially since you'll be staying another night. You're okay with that, aren't you? And by the way, are you about to touch me? I blink groggily awake to the gentle sounds of crackling fire. The itchy textures of worn bed sheets, the weight of a heavy knit blanket. I could recall once or twice having felt these very sensations to the point I'd consider them familiar and comforting. And yet, nothing could prepare me for the bright yellow eyes peered into me. My knuckles hit him square in the face as Michael yelped, nose scrunching as the taller man stumbled backwards into a stool. He landed on his rear with the grace of a clumsy toddler on the floor. I sat up in panic and immediately grimaced, landing back on the bed with unceremonious flop. It hit me in one felt swoop, how my whole body was aching. Every single one of my limbs felt like they'd gone through a ringer and came out the other side, all crinkled and wrong. I groaned loud, leaning my head back onto the pillow. Michael shifted back onto his feet, rubbing his nose. Gabby! His voice was awkward croak before he cleared his throat. I'm glad you're awake. How are you feeling? Horrible. He visibly flinched. I'm sorry to hear that. He stepped closer to the bed, leaning over verily in case my hand dramatically whips out again in self-defense. When my hands settled on my lap, he deemed it safe enough to sit beside me. What happened, Michael? You don't remember? I shook my mind, wincing a bit as my head pounded. Not at all. Michael hesitated. You, tripped and hit your head. I had to carry you home? His words almost slurred together as he fidgeted. My head? I slowly lifted my hand to feel for bumps or bruises, but he hastily snatched my wrist. Don't worry about that. Here, have this. It'll help. Michael gave me a familiar-looking drink as he quickly pressed a cup into my hands. Sitting up with some effort to take a sip, I couldn't help the small sense of deja vu. The amount of times I woke up in his bed dazed and disoriented is almost uncomfortable now. Obviously, he made you faint, right? He obviously made you faint, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel my theory, the last series of ours, the closest to correct. At least, because he is gaslighting me right now. I did not trip. Okay? I did not trip. At least the drink was helping, just like you promised. My body felt lighter as I finished. Michael took the cup from me and set it aside before wringing his hands together with nervousness I haven't seen in a while. So, I'm sorry this happened. I didn't mean for you to get hurt. I sighed, weighed aside his worries with an embarrassed grumble. It wouldn't be the first time I tripped, if you could believe it. It's not your fault. He gave a soft chuckle, but it sounded guilty. I suppose you're right. It's just... His face looked like he had a million thoughts running through his mind. I promised, didn't I? I said I was gonna look out for you. I said I was gonna keep you safe. Instead, I made you hurt. His voice crackled. I'm so sorry, Gabby. The sudden change in the demeanor was startling, to say the least. You couldn't have predicted it was gonna happen. And I'm fine, see? Oh, Firefly. I guess you're right. Born to find the cat, forced to fool around with Green Dude for some days. Where is my goddamn cat? His expression carried a lingering doubt, but he quickly masked it with a small smile, his eyes dim. In that case, you'll be staying? The way he said it almost sounded like a decision that had already been made. Or a plea. What do you mean? His eyes darted aside. You agreed to let me find Chef, remember? I did not. I did. Did I say that? Yeah. So, you'll be staying a while longer, right? You didn't even let me get a word in. In fact, a feeling of uncertainty washed over me as if we've had this conversation before. I don't think I... Besides, what's the rush? It's already late. You're in no condition to travel anyway. I blinked before glazing out the window. Pitch black darkness greeted me as I realized he was right. Yet another uncanny feeling spread through my chest, shivering crawling down my spine. I don't know why, but something about this whole situation felt wrong. I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Michael had a nervous look on his face. Maybe you hit your head higher than you thought? His words didn't sound confident. How long was I out? A couple hours, I think? You, really took a hit. It was that bad? My brow squeezed as I tried to recall today's events, but I don't remember tripping. There was a river. I remember you. And then... Your memory was fuzzy, and for a good reason. After all, it's been a rough... My stomach rumbled suddenly, echoing the room. There was a heavy silence right after. Michael was polite enough to hide his chuckle under a palm as I flushed. He seemed relieved. Well, lucky for you, I got dinner on the way. It should be ready soon. You're okay with soup, right? Soup sounds right. My stomach growled once more, the pain of an empty gut making me wince a bit. My host noticed immediately. Oh, maybe we should get you some food sooner than later. Do you feel okay enough to get up? I nodded with grumble, swinging my legs over the side of the bed before noticing something was on my lap. Wait, what's this? I mumbled the pile of thick fabric. Lysin was an oversized sweater with a pair of baggy sweatpants. A mushroom pattern? That's oddly cute. The material felt worn but comfortable. Ooh! Actually, another thing, right? Well, I'm glad he didn't touch me, by the way. He just left the clothes on the bed. But you know how he suddenly stopped me from touching my head? Well, of course it could be like that he didn't want me to find out that I don't have bumps and I didn't trip. Or that I'm growing my own horns. This for me. Oh, I figure since you'll be staying another night, you'd want some fresh clothes. It might be a few sizes bigger, or a lot. Sorry. He had gotten shy for some reason. On the other hand, I didn't have to take a whiff at myself to know that I probably reek. I nodded again, giving him a small but grateful smile. You're fine, Michael. Thank you. And another thing, I had to own him. I couldn't help feeling like I'm taking advantage of his kindness now. So, you know where the bathroom is? Take your time cleaning up. I'll be in the kitchen if you need anything. I'm really happy you're here. He stood there for a few seconds, fidgeting with his hands as if he wanted to say more before finally heading to the kitchen. I watched his back retreat before hoisting myself up and heading to the bathroom. Now that I was alone, I had a moment to gather my thoughts. The nagging feeling was back, a prickling feeling across my skin, raising goosebumps as if to tell me I shouldn't be here. I just couldn't place my finger on what. I should be careful. I was probably just being paranoid. I just couldn't shake the feeling that Michael was hiding something. He's been gracious host so far, but that didn't make him most trustworthy either. There's definitely something I'm missing. My mom was wondering even as I undressed and stepped under the shower. The icy chill of the water did nothing to distract me from my nerves. If anything, it elevated it. I was shivering a mess by the time I was done cleaning myself with whatever soap he had lying around. Once I dried myself, I inspected his clothes inside and out to see if there's anything off with them. It smelled like wet grass, burnt wood. Considering his lifestyle, it made sense for his clothes to have that sort of scent tucked to them, I suppose. Putting them on, it just reminded me how big and tall Michael was, compared to me at least. I fidgeted and fiddled with the sleeves and waistband until I could somewhat move comfortably. There's no mirror in his bathroom. That's what I noticed when we first were in here. So I had to assume I looked like a walking potato sack. Better than nothing. Gathering my courage, I shook out my hands and straightened myself before exiting towards the kitchen. A savory scent filled my nose. Michael did mention it was almost done. Is it mushroom soup? As I entered, I saw Michael by the stove, idly stirring something crimson in a pot and humming quietly to himself. His his content smile widened as he saw me, his ears flicking. I tried not to look uneasy as he looked me up and down. How do they fit? They're fine. They're alright. Much too big for me. He nodded, turning back to the pot. I can see that. Right. His smile faltered as he picked up on the worriness in my tone. Is everything alright? His eyes held a sense of worry, his shoulders tensing. I can get you something else if you'd like. There's no need. He paused, hand gripping onto the ladle tightly as he continued to hesitate. Gabby. There's another pause before his brows furrowed. I'm not an idiot. You don't trust me, do you? I flinched. Michael looked hurt as he sighted, so I'm right. His ears flicked by the side of his head as he turned back towards the stove. Can I just know why? His eyes were sad as he stared at the pot, as if he'd been in this situation before. Ooh. Recognizable music, like on one of these YouTube videos on something creepy. Ooh, we're getting to the creepy point. I thought I did everything right. Truthfully, I didn't expect such a direct confrontation. There's a lump in my throat as my fists clenched at my sides. It's just... The kettle started whistling, but he was clearly ignoring it. I swallowed down my groaning anxiety and decided to be upfront. I just didn't expect to be here to begin. It felt like the wrong thing to say when Michael's frown deepened. So you never wanted to be here? I didn't mean it like that. Then how else could you possibly mean it? Another deep sigh slipped out of him as he reached to lift the kettle off the stove, mumbling to himself. I was hoping you'd be different. What was I thinking? What did you just say? Nothing. Michael, his forlorn expression made my words feel thick on my tongue, forcing me to reluctantly swallow them back down. Any trace of suspicion I had faded and was replaced by a feeling of guilt. I'm sorry. I just thought I'd be home by now. I know. I'm sorry too. Oh, he's doing it again! But is it really so bad, Gabby? I know being lost in the woods with, man you don't know can be scary. But I promise you, you're safe. You know that that question, that saying, are you rather meet a man or a bear in the woods? Well, he's the man in the woods. And a lot of people choose the bear. So, I don't really feel that safe. The last thing I've ever want you to be is scared. He trailed off. So just trust me, okay? Can you do that, please? I swallowed and gave him a nod. My gut still rolled with suspicion, every fiber of my being wary of him to a certain extent. He seemed satisfied though, eager to move on past the tension. Thank you. His mouth quivered at the edges, all four of his eyes squinting, with the slightest bit of hope. Please let it be different for once. Why don't you take a seat, Firefly? I'll be right with you. He was already turning his back towards me to start preparing the tea. I was slowly approaching him. Hey, let me help this time. Michael startled, surprised to see me beside him. Sure. But you get some bowls ready? We're having tomato soup. Okay, it's not mushroom soup, thank God. Oh, do you want some grilled cheese with yours, or would you prefer garlic bread? I like garlic bread, please. Or just the soup. I have garlic bread. I love garlic bread. Got it. I rushed past him, feeling his tail linger by my ankle as I grabbed the bowls and spoons from the bottom shelf. He stared, preparing the sides, the smell of the toasted bread filling the kitchen and mingling with the soups. I took over, preparing the tea. Finally, I ladled the soup from the pot into a larger bowl just as Michael finished flipping that last piece. We settled in for a nice hot dinner. Regardless of how I felt about tomato soup, Michael's turned out rich and creamy with an amazing balance of sour and sweet. The fragrant garlic bread added the perfect texture to the meal, practically melting in my mouth with every bite. The simple combination of bread slices toasted with a buttery garlic bread dipped in fancy ketchup had no business being this good. There's still a feeling of stillness, awkwardness, but the food helped ease us both into a warmer, light-hearted conversation. I didn't realize how hungry I was until I refilled my bowl, Michael watching me with his chin propped in his hand. His own bowl sat empty. Apparently, he'd already had his fill. Is tomato soup your favorite? His question was innocent, though his eyes were observing me carefully as I shrugged. I think I love anything you cook. He stilled, taking a second to process what I said. Oh, well, thank you. No, thank you. Usually I get takeout or microwave dinners. Nothing beats home-cooked food. What's a microwave? I snickered, tried to explain it the best I can. A metal box that heats up food? That sounds like what the world in those fantasy books. Magic? Am I using that word right? I laughed lightly. Sometimes science is just like that. We thought about other kitchen appliances off the top of my head, slowly branching out to other human inventions. You seemed even more interested. I never understood how technology worked. I pulled out my phone and let him fiddle with it. Though with the battery dead, there's not much I could show. He was clearly disappointed. It's about as useful as a brick. For now. Otherwise I'd have a whole network of information demands. His eyes lit up. Like a library? You can access it at any time as long as the battery is alive? As long as I have an internet connection. Right. Internet. I didn't know you could do that. I just see people staring at them all the time. It seemed boring. He looked at my phone again, a look of wonder on his face. Having a whole library in your hands. Everyone must be really smart then. Well, not everyone uses it like a library, more like a messaging hub? Or a source of content consumption? His ear flicked as he stared at me with a blank smile. Consumption? You can eat it? Yeah, he has no clue what I'm talking about. How do you explain to him the very concept of Web 2.0? I cleared my throat, deciding that I simply won't. Maybe I can show you what I mean someday. His eyes brightened, seeming to like that idea a lot. You mean that? I can have some? Yeah, I think it's about time you started getting a little more modern around here. No offense. Imagine what you could do with a generator. His smile widened just a tad, though there's still a cluelessness to his face that was just a little endearing. Generator? I laughed and reached across to pat his hand, a gesture that made his smile wobble. Like I said, I'll show you someday. A little pause. My character is sus, anxious, wants to go home and process the cat missing, thinking that it's dead. Right? Why does my character keep telling this person, or this thing, that we'll have this set up? I'm gonna show you this, we're gonna go do that, and we're gonna stay there. I would love to keep eating your meals. Like, she keeps also putting the image in his brain that she thinks of staying. But then we want to get out, and then he manipulates us to stay. It's like, I don't know, we're manipulating each other in a way. Or is my character saying these things as in like, I can go home, process, and I can visit you from time to time? Because otherwise, like, he might be taking it all in like, oh my god, this person wants to stay with me. You know? A loud thwack sounded against the floorboards, followed by rhythmic thudding. Leaning over, I could see the tip of his tail was wagging back and forward, the tip of it slapping against the floor almost comically. Michael looked flustered as he laughed softly, pulling his hand back to rub his neck. Sorry. He looked like he had more to say, but exhaled heavily, gathering himself before tilting his chin towards my empty bowl. Are you done? I nodded as he stood and collected our dirty dishes, heading towards the sink to wash them. No, I guess he did eat the soup. I followed close behind, carrying the mugs. We made quick work of the dishes, heading back to the living room to relax. Michael headed to his basket of knitting materials, his movement routine. I wasn't sure what to do with myself. Now that food was no longer a distraction, I felt uneasy again, glancing around the room and staring at the window. Michael was eyeing me as he grabbed a stool and dragged it to the center of the room. Is there something outside? His question sounded innocent, but it had a sense of awareness to it. I shook my head quickly. No, nothing. I was just something catches my eye from under the bed, glinting like a knife. Ooh. Tilting my head lower, I could see it was a tin container the size of a shoe. So it wasn't a knife. Game, stop it. Stop it. What's that? Michael looked up. Hmm? Under your bed. Panicked. Looked. A panicked look came across his face. That thing? Just some emergency supplies. Yeah, nothing too special. I had an inkling he was being dishonest again, but I figured I'd leave it for another day. I see. Michael watched me for a moment or two before clearing his throat. Hey, a firefly? Hmm? I've been meaning to ask. Do you remember what you said at the river? The river? Oh, where I tripped. I pursed my lips in thought. Not really. Everything feels fuzzy to me. You seem disappointed. Oh, not even a little? I shook my head. Why? Did I say something stupid? Just some things. It made me happy. Oh god, I think I did say something stupid. But before I could ask about it, he'd already gestured towards the bed. Well, you should get some sleep, Firefly. Wanna wake up nice and early to find Chef, right? The idea of looking for my cat once more made me wilt. You really think we'll find him? Michael looked on the edge, pocketing his hands. It doesn't hurt to try, but it does hurt to hope. His face twitched. Well, his ears flattened as he thought of something to say, clearly struggling. He finally opened his mouth to respond, his words slow and careful. I'm here for you. Thank you, Michael. He nodded, a strange mixture of polite happiness and hidden anxiety playing across his face. He's probably not used to another person sticking around this long, let alone someone going through a loss he could care less about. Maybe I've been enough of a burden to him. Actually, can you just send me home? His brow raised, his posture strained in surprise. Are you sure? But what about Shep? Don't you want to see if we can find him? I'm sure. A look of apprehension crossed his face. But it's so soon! Shep could be out there! Michael, please. I can't think about him right now. I just want to go home. He fidgeted with the sleeve of his cardigan. But... He looked like he had so much more to say, but whatever turmoil going on in his head was quickly swept behind a reassuring smile. Okay. Get some sleep, Firefly. You've been through a lot. He went to collect his blankets again, already arranging them in a nest like the night before. The last thing I heard was the gentle crackling of the fireplace, accompanied by Michael's knitting needles slicking away in the dark. It's quiet. Before I knew it, I could hear birds chirping outside the window. The first thing I noticed was the fire must have been out. Considering I couldn't hear the familiar puppet snap that came with the room's ambience. The second thing I realized was the hand gently shaking my shoulder awake. Wake up, sleepyhead! I stirred, yawning as I sat up in bed. Michael beamed, hand still on my shoulder. There you are! Had a good sleep? I mumbled incoherently. His smile widened into a grin as I blinked myself out of the woozy state. If I didn't know any better, he seemed to enjoy waking me up in the morning just to see my disgruntled expressions. Breakfast is ready. Wash up and meet me in the kitchen, alright? Give me a second. He took that as my assent, humming his response. Suddenly his hand reached up to ruffle my hair, messing up my bed head further. Hey! He merely laughed at my indignant squonk before reminding me once more to get up, his steps already toddling towards the kitchen. Recovering after a moment, I stared at the wall and pondered my situation for a second as I made my way to the bathroom. This was the third day since I've left my home. I'm missing work, missing my cat, and missing my sense of direction. I gotta get back to my life. Today. Finally reminding myself of my goal, I padded to the bathroom, freshening up, and joined him in the kitchen. Michael was already seated, cutting into some pancakes. His smile was bright as I entered the kitchen, his tail closer flicking closer to my seat as I sat down. A similar stack of mouth-watering pancakes was placed across him, waiting for me to dig in. Though I couldn't bring myself to muster up an appetite with so many thoughts filling up my mind. He seemed to notice the look on my face, laughing nervously. You look serious. Something on your mind, Firefly? I picked up my fork, twiddling with it. I'm just worried about getting home. Michael faltered as he lifted a piece to his mouth. Oh, you're still thinking about that? I'm still thinking about going home? Yeah? Yes, I am. He seemed annoyed, which was a first. Of course, I've been gone for 3 days. People probably think I've gone missing. His gaze lower, almost grumbling. Is that so bad? I what? Yeah, it's bad. Why do you sound like you don't even care? Michael frowned, looking up at me now. Why do you sound like you're desperate to leave? What? It's all you ever think about. Are you not happy here? It's not enough? I started rubbing my fingers over my eyes. Michael, we have gone over this. I've said it once and I'll say it again. You've done so much for me already. I can't keep pretending everything's okay here. I want to go home. I need to go home. He sucked in a deep breath, grunting something indecipherable under his breath. I only wanted to... He seemed to be battling himself before he finally sighted. I'm sorry. You're right. Of course you're right. His tones seemed genuine, even if the hurting inside was clear as day. I'll send you back today. I narrowed my eyes. I mean it this time, I promise. He held his hand over his chest. I swear on my heart. Do we trust him? Do we don't? Do we trust him? Do we don't? Okay, let's go with the don't option this time. My eyes narrowed just a tad. Could I really trust his word? Do I have another choice? I mean, the last 3 times we asked to take us home, he didn't. So maybe I couldn't trust his word. The 4th time, right? Did I have another choice? Will you tell me what happened yesterday at the river? The river? I already told you what happened at the river. His voice sounded strained at the end. So that's it then? You're just gonna send me home? He nodded. Okay. Paused for a moment before adding quickly. Thank you. He nodded and went back to eating, watching me expectantly as he took a timid bite. It was a moment before he swallowed and spoke again. Can you promise me something? His voice was quiet, for lack of a better word, vulnerable. What is it? Promise me? His mouth hung open for a second or two before he laughed. Promise you weren't lying when you said you liked my cooking? I snorted. Are you kidding? Do I look like the kind of person to lie? I'm offended, Michael. He laughed again, light and airy. But if I dared to look closer, I could tell it was fake. He probably didn't want to make our last moments tense and awkward. The least I could do was meet him halfway. Before long, we found ourselves walking down another path from Michael's. The route was different today, probably because he didn't have any detours in mind. We walked in silence for a while. The only thing accompanying us were the sounds of nature and our steps. I couldn't tell what Michael was thinking. I knew he wasn't the talkative type, unless spoken to, but right now, he seemed eerily quiet. His back was tense, eyes looking nowhere but forward. My voice was itching to say something, anything. But it felt like the both of us had some thoughts to digest, despite it being easier to just say it out loud. Still, the silence was getting unbearable. So, we both halted on our steps at the sound of rustling, Michael's ears sparking in a direction. What was that? His hands were already racing to hold his crossbow. deftly cocking it with an experienced pull of the string till a solid click was heard. Stay quiet. Stay close. I swallowed, my heart picking up speed. He started stalking low towards the source of the noise, his boots barely making a sound compared to my clumsy footsteps. The rustling continued, sounded like a scuffle was occurring between the bushes. Closer, closer, until my ears picked up an unfamiliar, high-pitched sound. It sounded like a tiny infant screaming. And morbid as that was, Michael actually relaxed as he recognized it. His step hastened silently towards the source, crossbow lowering until we came across what exactly it was that caused the disturbance. A rabbit. Oh, it's a small, delicate foot snaggled in an old rusted trap. Its little body trembled as it breathed fast and shallow, no doubt scared out of his mind. Michael regarded it emphatically before unloading his crossbow, disturbed by the caught rabbit, but at the same time relieved at the absence of a threat. Just a rabbit. Sweeping his crossbow behind his back and out of sight, he looked at it for another moment before looking up towards me. Let's keep going then. My mouth dropped in shock. I leave that poor thing behind? He raised a bow, confused at my bewilderment. Yes? But it's going to die. His face twisted in confusion. That's generally what happens to prey animals, yes. He was so nonchalant about it. I had to keep my emotions in check. We can't do that. Look at it. His expression was understanding, if a little annoyed. Ooh. Well, a cat is a predator, right? So he wouldn't kill my cat, right? I am. Someone left a trap. A rabbit gets caught in it. That's how it works. How do you want me to... What do you want me to do? Set it free? Obviously? He was frowning now. I can't. If someone is nearby, they'll be suspicious how their catch got free. Does that matter? Animals escape traps all the time. The poor thing is suffering. Gabby, I know you're smarter than this. If it doesn't die today, it'll die tomorrow. To a trap, to a fox, to a hunter. It probably won't even survive long when its injured foot if we set it free. You're prolonging the inventable. Can't you put it out of its misery then? He hesitated. Do you really want me to do that? No. But even then, we don't even know if anyone's coming back for it. The thing looks so old. He sighed impatiently, looking stubborn in his decision. I think that's just his way of logic. In a way, his logic made sense, but still, I could hardly believe how needlessly call-out he was being. For someone so sweet with his hands, he was so indifferent about the poor rabbit shaking at her feet. I looked down at it once more, my heart breaking as it started to squeak. I guess he just takes care of his family and the rest he don't really care. I guess, I don't know. My heart was torn as the rabbit helplessly kicked his feet. Its cries, it's weakening. For a moment I imagined Chef being caught in a trap just like this one, left to starve and die when someone could have been there to help him. No, we can't leave it like this. Please, Michael. His harsh gaze started to soften at my plea. Does it matter that much to you, Firefly? I nodded quickly without hesitation. Please. It'll be the last time I'll ever ask for anything. He paused for another moment before shaking his head with defeated sigh. Somehow I doubt it's the last time. There was a smile in his voice still. But alright. I'll do it for you. Stand back, I have to pry it open. My gratitude was clear on my face as he pulled out a deadly-looking hunting knife from his pocket, kneeling down next to the rabbit. The terrified creature started to writhe all over again at the sight of a looming threat, Michael grunting as he held it down firmly with one hand. It started to fall still under his hold, relaxing completely with its foot hanging limp. Huh, he sure had a way with animals. I backed away to give him space, not wanting to distract him. As he was walking to feed the rabbit, I looked around to take in my surroundings. The trees felt somewhat familiar, a flash of memory playing in my mind. Casting one last glance towards Michael's back, I wandered a bit further away, making sure to stay within earshot. It took a few steps before I came across a familiar sight. Oh! It was the circle mushrooms from the other day. I recall that chef was definitely here. I hesitated at the edge of it, a sourceless sense of fear suddenly coursing through me as I stared at it. Had it grown bigger? The longer I stood there, the more the fear dissipated, my limbs tingling pleasantly and urging me forward. Before I realized, my foot was already lifting to approach it. Closer, closer. Staring at it, a fuzzy haze creeped over my mind. My face was warm. I found myself smiling at the oddly comforting familiarity, like recalling a fond memory, like greeting an old friend. I knelt down to inspect the growth, reaching out to brush my hand on one of the mushroom caps, when someone yanked my wrist back. What? Don't. Huh? Don't touch those. I looked up to see Michael looming over me, gaze sharp and our eyes shaped like thin slivers. You have a terrible habit of wandering off, don't you? I gulped. How is the rabbit? Is it safe? His eyes narrowed as I played to change the subject. Maybe failed, it was meant to say. It's real like you said. It's real like you asked. Don't touch those. Michael squeezed my wrist before letting go. I rubbed my wrist. It didn't hurt, but his grip had intent. Why? What's wrong with them? Nothing. Just don't touch them. I just thought you looked pretty, that's all. Did you, though? I shook my head, feeling disoriented as my mind flickered between thoughts rapidly like a broken radio station. Michael snapped his fingers from my attention. Look at me, Firefly. His voice was snippy and irritated. Uh-huh. I blinked rapidly to ground myself, scratching my head as I tried to gather my thoughts. Talk to me. Say anything. Some people think they're magic? Yeah, that's pretty common belief with mushroom rings, isn't it? I hung on to that thought. Keep going. Like related to fae folk? You know? It's why they're called fairy wings or fairy circle? Michael squinted before easing, his demeanor just a little less tense compared to before. They do look like they could summon a portal at any moment and whisk you away. I looked over at Michael, expecting him to look amused. Instead, he was glaring down at the ground, as if the mushrooms were the most wild thing he'd ever seen. No, it's more of an invasive species than anything else. I followed his gaze towards the harmless circle of fungus. They are? Should we do something about it? He blinked as if coming out of a daze. Oh no. Sorry, just a thought that slipped out. He pinched his nose bridge, his normally soft voice and tired grumble. Normally I leave them alone to do their business, but having you here... Anyways, just don't touch it, okay? He was being far too uptight about something as trivial as a circle of mushrooms. Seems like there's more to it than that. His sigh was exasperated. They just grew my part of the forest, that's all. They make me uncomfortable. I felt like Michael wanted to use a stronger word than uncomfortable. Barely a concealed growl between his teeth. Why? I thought you liked mushrooms. Michael's ears flattened. Not these ones. They're not even real mushrooms. They're not? No. He seemed to hesitate before blurting. They just happen to mimic mushrooms. Oh. I've never heard of something like that. Though there's some pretty wild foliage out there that could copy the look of nearby plants. Does it have a name? His brows scrunched in confusion. What, them? Yeah. You know, as in the species? Oh. I'm not entirely sure. I can recognize them by sight though, so just stick with me when we're out in the woods, okay? I really don't want you anywhere near them. Alright, if you say so. I just don't get how they can be invasive is all. I consider it invasive when they come on my property. You're really getting this angry over cute mushrooms? I'm gonna be honest, you're acting really weird about it, Michael. He was getting more agitated the longer we stood there, hands clenching into tight fists. Gabby, I know I ask a lot from you, but please, let's just leave them alone, okay? Why? There's something you're not— Look, we just— I flinched back away from him as his voice rang through the trees. First jump scare! A silence passed between us before he took a deep breath. I'm sorry. Please, can we step away from here? He held out his hand. His fingers were trembling. Take his hand, or should I decline? Okay, we're actually getting to a lot of decisions now. Just this once. I'll take his hand. I closed my hand around his, noting the way his tail flicked so hard it thumped against his leg. His fingers are closed against my own, twitching at the unfamiliar sensation. I stepped beside him, looking at him expectantly. Uh-oh. I didn't think you'd take it. Now it was my turn to get flustered. You offered. I know I did. I thought I scared you, so I figured. Waited for the other to say something. Her face is growing heated. Oh yeah, maybe I did pick the romantic option when I wanted to go platonic. I just wanted to calm him down. I didn't. Whatever. He finally laughed, exclaiming something strange and grumbled before squeezing my hand. Gabby, you're really something special. I hope you realize that. He gave my hand another tight squeeze, snapping me out of my daydream. Let's get you home, Firefly. Michael took the lead, his footing sure and confident. He must have noticed my unsteady gait beside him, as he subtly veered towards a clearer path I could easily follow. I didn't verbalize it, but I was definitely grateful for that. As much as the forest was growing on me, getting my feet caught in roots and twigs every few steps gets tiring after a while. Our steps felt into rhythm next to each other. I peeked at Michael every once in a while, trying to gauge his mood after what happened. Even after spending so much time with him, he was so difficult to read. How can someone both wear their heart on their sleeve, yet keep it stitched tight, never letting anyone come too close? I knew he had secrets he wanted to keep close to his chest, but I wish he'd just open up to me a little. The silence that hung in the air was making my skin prickle. What's your favorite animal? I was so caught in my thoughts I didn't even realize I blurted the first thing that came to my mind. Michael regarded me curiously, air flicking. My favorite animal? Oh, my voice went there. He pursed his lips in thought before his ears perked. Jellyfish. I did a double take. It was one thing for him to have an answer so readily, but the choice was something else. A jelly? Why jellyfish? I thought it'd be, I don't know, a bird or something? Because he likes brainless things. He shrugged. They're pretty to look at least from pictures I've seen. Plus, I kinda relate to them. He said that without zero hesitation. How exactly do you relate to jellyfish? His expression faltered as if deciding on the right way he could explain his answer. Let's just say I have something in common. Why, he stings? Jellyfish sting, right? What a jellyfish. Well, one jellyfish. In what way? That they're pretty to look at? A strangled noise slipped past his throat. No! You wouldn't get it. Try me. No. I ground like a dying whale in the exasperation. Shoulders slumped like I had a back problem. He's not gonna elaborate anymore, is he? He probably spotted the vein growing on my forehead as he snickered. Relax, Firefly. You're gonna faint on the spot if you think any harder. If you're allowed to get upset about mushrooms, I'm allowed to get upset about jellyfish. His smile dropped for a second before his cheek grin returned. Touch. Touch? Touch what? You know, touch. I stared at him. His happy grin shifted into confused frown. You know, touch, when it's like saying you're right. You mean touche? He smiled innocently. Yeah, this man will be the death of me. He laughed at my screwed up grimace, waving a hand hastily. What about you? What's your favorite animal? Cat! He snorted a foul smile on his lips. You know what? I don't even know why I bothered asking. Of course it's cats. What's that supposed to mean? Actually, I would have picked chicken as my personal favorite, but I want to keep a reminder that my cat is out there. He gave me a look. You know what I mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. He pretty much giggled in response. We continued with idle chatter after that. I didn't even know how much time has passed as the tree slowly thinned out, the sound of nature muffling as the canopy started to grow scarce. Suddenly, I heard the soft yet familiar rumble of a car in the distance. I almost didn't pick up on it, fully immersed in whatever Michael was rumbling about. Something about the life cycle of topsy-turvy, Dorney, or whatever it was he called it. Oh! Have we really walked that far already? I left Michael's side and rushed forward. He made a sound of surprise but followed suit. I neared the edge of the forest just as another car drove past. I recognized my street instantly. Breaking into light jog, I almost missed Michael calling for my name as I ran down the road. There! My house was visible from where I stood by the street. I was breathing heavily by the time Michael approached my side, the man barely making a sound as I took in the sight. I missed this. I turned to thank Michael, only to startle when I bundled a stranger took his place. Oh. Sorry. People about. I couldn't see anyone around, but I guess he was right to be safe. I guess this was his version of disguise. If I were to pass him on the street, I don't think I would have bothered to look twice. I shuffled my feet, feeling awkward now about my previous apprehension. I might have had my doubts about him, but maybe I was wrong after all. He did get me home despite everything. I mean, I'd want to say thank you to your face, but I'll settle for this, I guess. His chuckle was muffled underneath the scarf. He pulled it down so he could speak properly. Did I scare you? I got distracted. Michael's eyes squinted from where I could see them. And I wonder how you don't get lost every 20 steps. Hey! He laughed at my offended tone. You better not go back in there, got it? I'm not always gonna be around to find you. Who says I need you around to find me? Almost instantly his eyes hardened under his sunglasses. I'm serious. Don't go wandering these woods again. Or I might have to start taking drastic measures just to make sure you stay put right where you are. I sputtered indignantly. I wonder where I please. Sure. He looked over my shoulder towards my house. But that's where you live, huh? Looks cozy. I wasn't sure if he was being genuine considering he lived in the wooden back ends of the middle of nowhere. Suddenly I perked up with a thought. A small part of me couldn't help insisting it was a bad idea, but I was too curious not to ask. Do you want to come by? His eyes darted towards me, shocked evidently on his face. Me? To your home? I nodded. He froze completely. For a second I thought he stopped breathing. I'd love to. Sudden barking and shout startled us both, my body jerking forwards as his arms yanked me close. I heard a soft rustle as his sunglasses fell to the grass from the sudden motion, his hastily worn beanie shaken off his head. Looking up, it was just my neighbor calling out to their dog. Oh, looks like Vida's back from college. I paused, feeling his grip tighten. I looked down at his hand on my shoulder before glancing up at him. Michael. He snapped back to the present, his hand releasing me quickly. Sorry. He looked towards my neighbor and their dog for another moment before turning back to me. I might think it's a good idea for me to go with you. I don't want to be seen. Even though I didn't fully trust him, I still felt disappointed at his rejection. I deflated just a little. But you have your disguise, don't you? He shook his head insistently. I can't risk it. It's better this way. He spoke with a finality that was starting to become familiar. If he wasn't willing, fine. At least I was. Before he could pick up his accessories, I gently grabbed his wrist. Though I couldn't help feeling like he had one too many secrets to keep. It wouldn't hurt to get to know him more and figure them out. Then can I come visit you instead? What? I huffled impatiently. If you won't come to mine, then I'll go to yours. Once again, he was rendered speechless. Why would you ever want to see me again? At this point, I was starting to look and sounded peeved. For all his good traits, the constant need to build his walls higher around me was starting to get annoying. I folded my arms, looking stern. His eyes widened as if in preparation, ears flattening like a cat in the middle of scolding. Michael, can you just accept the fact that maybe I enjoy your company and wouldn't mind more? I'm sorry, nobody's ever... But you wanted to go home so badly. Oh, this man is hopeless. Oh yes, of course I do. Is this because I chose to touch his hand? I want this to be platonic. Besides the promise I'd show you what phones could do, didn't I? Dismissing the fact that there's probably not much I can show when there's no data in the woods. I'm sure he'd be entrailed by whatever dinky mobile game I had installed at the time. The point was I just wanted to see him again. So that means I get to see you again? Picked up the eager tone in his voice, realizing he wished for the same sentiment. Yeah, I want to. His voice warbled for a second. Firefly. He cleared his throat, laughing to himself. Gabby, you can't imagine how much that means to me. A lot. It means a lot. More than you know. I noted a giddy smile creeping onto my own face. How's next weekend? He tilted his head. That's 7 sundowns from now? 5. His smile widened, even squinting in absolute delight. Okay, I'll meet you here then. I smiled at him, figuring this was a goodbye. I wasn't my best self in the last few hours spent with Michael, being closed off the moment he held back information. But maybe a simple gesture could make up for it. Thank him. You're welcome, Firefly. His voice was filled. I'm not hugging you. I don't want it to go romantic. I don't want it. Self-reverence. I didn't think much of it before, but now I was really curious. Why do you call me that? Huh? Firefly. You've been calling me that since we met. Why? Oh, he fidgeted with the strap of his sachet as if embarrassed. I guess you just reminded me of one. I snorted, folding my arms in mock offense. You're comparing me to a fly now? Beetle, actually. Still a bug? He sighed, rolling his eyes. I'm not done. Right, sorry. Go on. He rubbed the tips of his fingers on the strap again, slowly speaking. When I first found you, I thought our time together would be short. Something that might fade as quickly as it appeared. As if I wasn't careful, you could slip away so easily. Fireflies are so delicate after all. But then you stayed. And not you just stayed, you lit up everything around me. Something I didn't even realize I needed. Your light was warm, soft, mesmerizing, safe. I wish I could keep you in my hands forever. But you wouldn't like that. Would you? He stared at me with such intensity, I really did start to feel like a bug under a microscope. His face grew warm, shudder running up my spine. Wow, cool story. Anyways, I gave him one last light punch to the shoulder. It felt like punching a sack of grains. I'll see you next weekend. Ignoring the heat on my face, I looked both ways before jogging across the street. My neighbor in their yard looked up as I approached, their eyes lighting up in recognition. Gabby? Their hands fidgeted with the frisbee in their hands as they approached. Their ever-loyal Laika followed close behind. I was wondering where you've been. I dropped by to give you some cake over the weekend, but you weren't home. And you didn't answer your phone, and your packages were piling up at the door, and... I held my hands up in placating gesture. Without, I'm fine. At your feet like I was dutifully pawing at their elbow to calm them down. Their mouths stopped midway through another sentence, blinking rapidly. Sorry. They reached down to pat Laika's head, significantly calmer as they asked me again. I'm losing my reader version of me. Where have you been? I was visiting a friend for a digital detox, off the grid and all that. They blinked slowly, nodding. Oh, that sounds exciting. But that By the tone of the voice, it didn't mean that at all. What about Chef? Did you manage to find him? My mood instantly dropped. No. It's why I went away in the first place, you could say. It took a few seconds for Willa to understand what I meant. Oh, I'm sorry. It's fine. They straightened a flash of empathy on their face before they smiled. Well, Leica and I are around for a semester break if you need anything. We should do a movie night. Maybe that'll lift your spirits? I found this really good one. I think you'll like it. I did some research and it feels like it's right up your alley. Leica and I could take a quick drive to the store and just let us know when you're up for it. I could get your favorite snacks and stuff. Leica gave a happy bark at the familiar word. I found smile perked at my lips. Thank you, Willa. I'll bring the orange soda. Their expression lit up happily. Take care. I bid them both goodbye to walk up my driveway. Once I got to my door, I had an urge to turn around one last time. I was surprised to see Michael still standing by the forest edge, shadowed by the trees. That's not creepy at all. Our eyes made contact, his own fierce, piercing yellow shining against the shade. I gave him a big wave, and it took a moment, but he waved back. Smiling to myself, I unlocked the front door and let myself inside. It was surreal standing in my doorway again. I felt like Alice, who just woke up at the end of the book feeling like I dreamed of Wonderland. I tossed my keys in my backpack by the hall carelessly before plugging my phone into the charger. I dreaded playing catch-up with the people who might have tried to reach me during my absence. Work, family, friends. I grounded aloud, flopping onto the living room couch. Oh well, at least I had this weekend to look forward to. That's all from day 3 of the demo. Made it to the end. And I don't have much information if this is still in works or not, but I think it is. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you Friday, alright? I'm gonna go rest my voice. It's dying! Alright, peace!